Well, you got guys fighting between 130, 135, and 140. They stack, around that area. So, I mean, as of right now,
skills that pay the bills.
Well, the two guys, well, the biggest puncher, I feel, at the 135 will probably be Gervonta Tank Davis.
Boxing pros and experts have revealed why fighters are actually scared of Gervonta Tank Davis. Floyd Mayweather recently praised Tank, labeling him as the hardest hitter in the lightweight category, while also recognizing Shakur Stevenson as the most talented. Nonetheless, Stevenson's fighting style is a subject of debate among fans and critics. Floyd said, "The biggest puncher at 135 will probably be Gervonta Davis, but the most skillful fighter at 135 will be hands down Shakur Stevenson." Numerous observers consider Shakur Stevenson to be excessively defensive, often criticizing him for steering clear of direct confrontations during matches. Critics contend that apart from his controversial win against Edwin de los Santos last November, a bout many feel Stevenson actually lost, he has not competed against elite opponents. Floyd added, "Well, it's all really about skills. Pernell Whitaker wasn't a huge puncher, but he was very exciting, very tough, and he fought everybody. And Shakur is trying to do the same thing. He's trying to fight the best out there. He's asking to fight the best." Conversely, Vasily Lomachenko is frequently hailed as the most adept lightweight, admired for his readiness to confront opponents and his comprehensive skill set. Supporters argue that Stevenson's key strength lies in his movement, although they believe this also undermines his overall impact as he seldom holds his position. Critics contend that a combatant needs to interact more personally, which Stevenson allegedly avoids. However, Floyd Mayweather thinks that people don't fully appreciate Gervonta Davis's technical boxing abilities. "We know that Mayweather was a mentor to Davis, consistently supporting him in his bouts." In an old interview from the time when Floyd used to work with Tank, he emphasized that many overlook Davis's technical skills, focusing solely on his power. Floyd mentioned that many people are unaware of Tank's exceptional boxing skills, which surpass his power. He explained that Tank often doesn't need to rely on his boxing abilities, but emphasized that Tank is highly skilled in boxing. Floyd recounted how they often advise Tank in the gym to not always depend solely on his power, but to utilize his boxing skills more. He noted that Tank followed this advice during the training camp.
Tank boxing skills is really better than his power. He just didn't have to use his boxing skills, but Tank can really box his ass off. And so when we in a boxing gym, Sean, as you've seen me tell Tank a lot of times, stop always resorting just to your power and use your boxing skills. And that's what Tank did in this training camp.
Thanks so much, guys.
At the culmination of the recent press conference ahead of the upcoming bout featuring Gervonta Davis and Frank Martin, Leonard Ellerbe, CEO of Mayweather Promotions, stepped up to elucidate to the audience why Martin could potentially be outmatched against Davis. Ellerbe said, "Two things that kind of stand out to me over the last week or so. That's been said. One is coming from Frank Martin's promoter, Errol Spence Jr. He says that Tank Davis is going to get dominated for 12 rounds. Dominated? Errol, don't believe that dumb shit. I can promise you that." Ellerbe further remarked that Frank Martin claimed he would defeat Tank, acknowledging that Martin is in excellent shape due to Derek's exceptional training. However, Ellerbe pointed out that in 2017, Tank was already becoming a world champion, whereas Martin had not even turned professional yet at that time. He added, "So one thing about this boxing shit, you can't skip steps. It's something we call experience, and you gain that over a period of time by fighting the top fighters and doing your thing." Again, I can't say enough that I personally think Frank Martin is a good fighter, but there's a difference between being good and being special. Everything that Frank Martin does is good. Tank does better, and come Saturday night, don't blink, cause this shit could be over early. In an old interview, Leonard Ellerbe expressed satisfaction with Davis's performance. He praised Davis for his 11th round knockout victory over Mario Barrios, the WBA World Light Welterweight Champion at that time. Following that bout, Ellerbe asserted that Tank Davis is revitalizing boxing by injecting excitement into the sport through his victories. Tank found himself in a dire situation against Barrios, a fighter considered less skilled compared to him. Despite being a secondary champion in the 140-pound division, Barrios was not among the top contenders. Tank's difficulty in dealing with Barrios highlighted his own limitations as a fighter. However, Floyd Mayweather caused disappointment among media members during the post-fight press conference when he announced that Tank would exclusively fight opponents affiliated with Mayweather Promotions and PBC. Regarding Gervonta Davis's post-fight remarks from that night following his victory over Barrios, Mayweather Promotions CEO Leonard Ellerbe said, "Tank gives the fans exactly what they want to see. There's no other fighter out there that's doing that like he's doing that, and I can't say that enough. And this is what it's about. He's the one bringing excitement, really back to the sport. So now when people hear his name, it's like, that kid right there, he delivers. Ellerbe continued to praise Tank Davis, highlighting the challenge for any opponent facing him. He described the mental pressure Tank exerts in the ring, with his punches coming at 100 miles per hour while he relentlessly advances. Ellerbe noted that Tank, despite his smaller stature, managed to overpower a larger opponent. On the other hand, after losing to Gervonta Davis in their first fight together last year, Ryan Garcia praised the great Davis. His anticipated defining bout turned unexpectedly one-sided as he suffered a second-round knockdown and succumbed in the 7th after a devastating left hook to the body. Garcia faced a disadvantage due to the 136-pound catch weight and rehydration restriction. This clause restricted him from weighing over 146 pounds. Garcia had previously struggled to make the lightweight limit, which necessitated his move up in weight class. At Garcia's expense, Davis became one of the most well-known people in the world as a result of what turned out to be the most commercially successful battle of 2023. Garcia stated, "Tank is a great fighter. I take my hat off to him. I know we talked a lot of trash leading into the fight, but he knows what it is. It's all love. At the end of the day, I was honored to be in the ring with a great fighter, and I respect him a lot. You know how the business goes, but I want to say to Tank, you're a good man." Garcia commented that Tank landed a solid shot on him, and he didn't want to make any excuses. He admitted that he couldn't recover from the well-placed body shot that Tank delivered, which caught him off guard. He said, "I couldn't breathe. I was going to get back up, but I just couldn't get up. I think I should have pressured him a little harder near the ropes. I was giving him a little bit too much respect, and I think that was my downfall. I think I gave him a little too much respect in the ring." Well, this is just one of the reasons why fighters like Ryan Garcia are actually scared of Gervonta Davis. Meanwhile, according to boxing legend Mike Tyson, the match between Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis established Tank as the sport's spokesperson. After securing the win, Gervonta Davis faced the interviewer inside the ring. When questioned whether he believed he was the new face of boxing, reminiscent of Floyd Mayweather naming him as such years earlier, Tank confidently responded in the affirmative.
"I remember many years ago, we spoke, and you spoke to our production group. You said, I've watched Floyd. I watched Canelo. I look at all the tapes of Ray Leonard, Manny Pacquiao, all these guys. I'm going to be the face of boxing."
Is this the future of boxing? Absolutely.
Are you now?
I'm definitely face of boxing. Absolutely.
It appears that the legendary Mike Tyson would also concur with him. Iron Mike complimented Davis in an interview, with Forbes saying, "He is truly right. He is the face of boxing. But that's because Ryan Garcia is the draw. And that makes Garcia the face of boxing too, because of the amount of people that he fills in an arena." Tyson remarked that since the fight, Ryan Garcia's fans would likely become Tank Davis's fans, predicting that Davis would gain significant drawing power. He observed that Ryan had attracted a large crowd, and typically, when a popular fighter like Ryan is defeated, his fans tend to support the victor, in this case, Tank. Tyson added, "Since that fight, Ryan Garcia fans will turn into Tank's fans, and Davis is going to have the biggest drawing power, I believe." Ryan brought those people out, and normally when the draw gets beaten, like Ryan, when he gets beaten, the people that are his fans are now Tank's fans. It's difficult to argue with Mike Tyson, given the record stats between Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis. The highly anticipated Showtime pay-per-view main event had been brewing for years, with both stars engaging in a heated exchange of words. This intense buildup significantly elevated the event, making it one of the most anticipated in recent history. As per sources, it came to light that the Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia bout purportedly garnered more than 1.2 million pay-per-view purchases. This achievement underscores the rarity of such numbers in the United States, where even Canelo Alvarez has struggled to achieve such consistent results. Moreover, their success extended to Las Vegas, where the event is said to have amassed more than $20 million, ranking it among the top 5 highest-grossing events in the city's history. This achievement is particularly significant considering Las Vegas's renown as the global hub for combat sports, highlighting a monumental milestone for Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. Despite his explosive and relentless demeanor inside the ring, Gervonta Davis presents himself as a softly spoken and mild-mannered young man. He believes that achieving victories and decisively defeating his opponents speak louder than merely boasting about his overall abilities with bombastic rhetoric. Up to now, Davis remains confident in his achievements. The Baltimore native native asserts his skills are unmatched. Despite his impressive record and knack for spectacular knockouts, Stephen "Breadman" Edwards feels the 28-year-old isn't receiving the recognition he truly deserves. Upon thorough assessment of the current WBA regular belt holder, Edwards remains resolute. He asserts that Davis not only reigns supreme in the lightweight division, but also stands peerless across the global boxing arena. Edwards said, "Gervonta Davis is one of the best fighters in the world. He might not be taking the fights that the public want to see him take, but I'm just talking about straight ability. I'm talking about just straight ability. It's not 10 better fighters in the world than him." Moreover, Edwards advises Davis to stay focused on the ultimate goal. After closely following the highly acclaimed fighter for several years, Edwards acknowledges that he has grown into both an enthusiast and an admirer. After thoroughly analyzing various aspects of his performance, Edwards now believes that Davis embodies more than sheer strength alone. He said, "Everything is underrated. His jab is underrated. Everybody says he's all left hand. His right hand is underrated. His poise is underrated. His conditioning is underrated. His chin is underrated. That boy can fight. He can go." Meanwhile, we know that Vasily Lomachenko and Gervonta Davis have engaged in a prolonged exchange of verbal jabs over the last 5 to 6 years. Their ongoing feud began because both fighters competed in or near the same weight class, each vying for supremacy within their division. Long before the Ukrainian claimed the unified championship at 135 pounds in 2020, he challenged Davis to step into the ring with him. Despite his repeated challenges, however, the two fighters avoided a showdown. Overall, Lomachenko asserted that Team Davis was actively avoiding him and other top contenders in the lightweight division. Despite his eagerness to face the talented boxer from Baltimore in the ring, the former two-time Olympic gold medalist developed a quiet admiration for Davis from a distance. Despite their differences, Lomachenko admits that he respects Tank and his abilities in general, even though they are still competitors. He said, "He's the real deal. I like his style." With no indication of a clash between the two in sight, Davis and Lomachenko have chosen divergent paths. Lomachenko appears poised to finalize an agreement to face Devin Haney, the reigning undisputed champion of the lightweight division. Davis, however, is going to fight Frank Martin now. On the other hand, Gervonta Davis has received a ton of praise from Bernard Hopkins for prioritizing his career above Floyd Mayweather and looking to move on. The ex-two-time world champion, widely regarded as one of boxing's all-time greats, occupies a prominent role at Golden Boy Promotions. He was in attendance for Davis's last year bout against Ryan Garcia. Hopkins stated that Tank wanted to pursue the fight and felt the need to break away from someone he still respected at the time. He said that Tank expressed concerns about potentially wronging this individual, but emphasized that he had many conversations where he decided he needed to prioritize his career and make his own decisions.
I know a little something. And Tank wants to do the fight, but he had to break away from the chains of somebody he still respects and respected then, and felt like, I'm gonna do him wrong if I do this. Somebody and Tank had many conversations, I believe. And he said, "Man, I gotta do what I gotta do. This is my career."
Hopkins added that when given the opportunity to pursue a long boxing career, like his own 20-year career, one cannot afford to take risks. He emphasized the importance of seizing every chance to excel and allowing others to handle the behind-the-scenes work, enabling the boxer to focus on what they do best in the ring.
Once you get one chance to go around his career and not take the chance on boxing 28 years like Bernard Hopkins, you can't risk that. You gotta take the opportunity to chop at the bit when you can and let everybody else do the work that's behind you and taking care of the details so you can do what you do best.
After Gervonta Davis defeated Mario Barrios in 2021, Akin A.K. Reyes, Akin Ak Reyes, and Kamal Barak Bess commended him for his honesty. Davis knocked Barrios down twice in the 8th round before ultimately stopping his first opponent at 140 pounds in the 11th round. He confessed to feeling nervous about stepping into the ring, having fought at lighter weights throughout his career. Tank won the WBA interim super lightweight title as a result of the victory, and Barak reported that Tank put up a calculated and cautious performance. He said, "My biggest takeaway was actually outside of doing. You know, I'm about character, and I was really impressed that Gervonta was so truthful in the post-fight press conference, talking about how nervous he was and how, yes, he wanted to get him out of there." Barak noted that Tank was nervous about facing a 140-pound fighter, worrying that the opponent might be baiting him or throwing soft shots to lure him in. Tank feared that if he charged in as usual, he might get hit with a powerful counter counterpunch. Barak appreciated Tank's honesty about his concerns. AK concurred that Davis's slow rate of adaptation and acclimatization to his opponent's strength was not particularly surprising. He said, "I wasn't shocked that it took him a few rounds when he was down the first few rounds. On the unofficial scorecard, I mean, he was down on my card as well, but that's a different story." AK pointed out that Davis ensured the fight didn't go to the judges, thereby avoiding any potential controversy. He mentioned that Davis knocked his opponent down twice in the 8th round before ultimately stopping him in the fight. He added, "So I think Davis had a stellar performance. I was overly impressed with him fighting at 140 and still carrying his power to that division the way he did. Moreover, Gervonta Davis is admired by talented former IBF lightweight champion Paul Spadafora, who asserts that Davis is more complex than meets the eye. Due to the Baltimore Star's knockout power that can extinguish lights with a single blow, some categorize him as a brawler. However, Spadafora values not just his devastating ability, but the complete skill set of the undefeated WBA lightweight champion, with a record of 29-0 and 27 KOs. Spadafora explained, "I like Tank because everyone thinks he's just a puncher, and that's the facade. He's not just a puncher. If he was just a puncher, he would have gone right at Ryan Garcia, but you see how he boxed Ryan. He slowed his ass down, watched what he was doing, watched his movements, and then boom. Once he did that, it was catch-up time for Ryan. And if you're playing catch-up with Tank, you're f***ed." The ability to strategize several moves ahead and execute plans during combat under pressure is just as remarkable as Davis's talent for decisively finishing off an opponent with a single strike. Spadafora said, "That takes tremendous amounts of skill. Tank will probably go down as one of the best." Spadafora mentioned his 3 favorite fighters today, expressing the most admiration for Tank. He also praised Terence Crawford and Boots. Spadafora highlighted Crawford's fearless approach, describing him as a true fighter. Spadafora added, "I have 3 favorites that I like today. I like Tank the most. I like Terence Crawford. I like Boots because he's from Philly, and he's the next superstar. Crawford, there ain't no one he won't fight. He's a dog for real. He's different from anybody that I ever knew." Spadafora has his sights set on potential matchups for Davis within his weight category, such as Ukrainian standout Vasily Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson from Newark. He said, "Tank and Shakur, that's a great fight. Shakur's very patient. That's a great fight, but I have to give the edge to Tank. I think Shakur has a better chance of beating Lomachenko than he does of beating Tank, but that's a great division." Now, let's come back to Mike Tyson, as he believes that Gervonta Davis will go on to become a legend in the sport. Tyson continues to command respect in the world of sports, often discussing the rising stars within it. He firmly believes that Davis, once mentored by Floyd Mayweather, has the potential to achieve greatness. Tyson said in an interview with TMZ when discussing who is currently on the brink of stardom in the sport, "Tank is a great fighter. He'll be a legend too if he keeps fighting. He's probably the best fighter out there right now." Originating from Baltimore, Maryland, Gervonta Tank Davis has carved out a reputation for delivering some of the most spectacular knockouts in contemporary boxing. This southpaw has captivated audiences with his exceptional skill set and remarkable finishing power. Boasting a knockout rate of 93%, it's uncommon for Davis's opponents to last until the final bell.
When did you see that in Tank? Even the possibility of him becoming like a megastar that he is now? Was there a fight or a moment where you're like, damn, he's that guy?
The Pedraza fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of one that sticks out in my mind too, because nobody's kicked Pedraza's ass like Tank did.
Yeah, no. That was an incredible performance, and to be so young.
Yeah, like 50 rounds or something.
12 or 13 months before that we had signed him. He's the real deal.
Yeah.
Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you enjoyed this one.